also might ask you if you could sit up a little bit to the microphone and keep your voice up a little bit. Some of the people are having difficulty. All right, thank you so much. And then I'm on track. Counsel, please stipulate to the return of our jurors.
Defense stipulates, Your Honor.
You may continue with your processing.
You were, when we left for the break, you were telling us about getting back into the vehicle to go back to 43 Laurel Glen Drive. Do you remember that?
Correct.
And you told us that you had been looking at the damage and you knew that it was going to be very expensive for Jack Snider, right?
I assumed, yes, correct.
And you said that Mr. Valle said, "Fuck these kids. You're going to let them do you like that?"
Correct.
Remember that? And that he was more angry than anyone else, correct? And that because you knew Tyler Rich and the Riches through your cousin and lots of other Shelton High kids, right?
Correct.
That you thought it would be a good idea to go back down there and talk to them, right?
The little liquid courage, I thought it would be a good idea.
A little liquid courage, you thought it would be a good idea. Well, you told us I didn't think I had a problem with them, right?
Didn't it?
You'd been involved in the fight at 5 Lazy Brook earlier that night.
I was.
You just pulled up and been swarmed by 30 to 40 kids, right?
Correct.
Pounding on the car, right?
Correct.
Smashed the windshield, right?
Correct.
Chased you, as you saw in that video, down towards the end of the road even after you'd left, right?
Correct.
You thought you didn't have a problem with them?
Just thought they wouldn't just jump me. Like, I thought I would be able to talk to Tyler Rich.
Okay. And if you were going to be, if you were in a troubling or unsafe situation, you would expect Mr. Snider to help you, right? That would be your expectation?
It's an expectation. I'll allow it. Overruled.
I would expect, yes.
If you were in a dangerous situation, you would expect Mr. Valle to help you, right?
Yes.
It didn't surprise you when Mr. Valle got into the car with you, did it?
Not fully.
No, not at all, right? It didn't surprise you at all that somebody you'd known since 5th grade, spent nights at their homes with, saw every weekend, got into the vehicle when you were heading back to 43 Laurel Glen Drive. It did not surprise you, did it, sir?
That did not surprise me.
No, it didn't surprise you at all. You didn't say, "Whoa, Mr. Valle, you seem angrier than anybody else here. Don't get in this car with me," did you?
Did not say that.
And you weren't scared that if you went back there, these 30 to 40 people might swarm you again?
Like I said, knowing Tyler Rich and knowing the Shelton kids, no, I wasn't.
Well, Tyler Rich and the Shelton kids were the same ones that had just swarmed you only minutes before, right?
Yes.
Okay, so now for some reason you thought that they wouldn't do that again?
Well, I thought because, I mean, that's all of us in a car. Me coming up alone, trying to talk to them would be a different situation.
Well, again, you weren't expecting to go back there alone. You got into the car, so you knew that Mr. Snider was going to be in there with you, right?
I knew Mr. Schneider. I knew Schneider. I knew Valle was going to be in the car, but I knew myself was going to get out. I did not know Lito was going to get out.
You didn't expect if you were going to get out and go face 30 or 40 people that had just swarmed you that Mr. Valle would get out of the car to be there with you?
I did not expect it.
I'll allow it.
I did not expect that.
But you told us you would expect him to help you if you were in a dangerous situation.
Objection asked and answered.
Sustained.
Why didn't you just walk back to the house?
Asked Jack to drive me.
I understand what you did. I asked, why didn't you just walk back to the house?
I don't know. I don't have a clear answer for that.
Well, you just told us that you were expecting to go up there and talk to them by yourself.
Yeah.
But you got into the car.
I did.
That Mr. Valle and Mr. Snider were already in, according to you.
Correct.
And you told Mr. Snider, take me back there.
I did.
When you got back to the house, or at some point before you got back to the house, you say you heard Mr. Valle say, Jack, give me the knife.
Correct.
But you didn't see him give him the knife.
Did not.
And you didn't see the knife any time thereafter.
Did not.
You didn't see Mr. Valle with the knife in his hand opening the blade.
Did not.
You didn't see Mr. Valle take the blade and flash it out the window.
Did not.
You didn't see Mr. Valle do anything with the knife at any time. Is that fair to say?
Correct.
And you get out of the car once you got back there, right?
Correct.
And you start walking into the yard.
Correct.
It's your recollection that there was nobody in the yard when you pulled up?
Yes.
And you got out and you walked straight up into the yard, right?
Correct.
You said right in front of the mailbox?
Yes. I walked almost like a straight shoot up.
And you were just a little past the grass and onto the driveway?
Correct.
Where were you heading?
I was heading to talk to someone until I was greeted.
You were going to go knock on the front door?
No.
Were you by the cars that were parked in the driveway?
Not that I could recall.
Do you remember any vehicles being along the sides of the road?
Not that I can recall.
And then at some point you realized that Mr. Valle was also out of the car with you, right?
Correct.
And you turned to him and you said, Mr. Valle, go get back in the car, right?
No, I actually did not say that.
Well, you didn't say, what are you doing? Get out of here. You're going to cause a problem.
I said, what are you doing?
Oh, you did. You said, what are you doing?
Yes.
Did you tell that to the cops when you spoke to them?
I did.
What was his reaction when you said, what are you doing?
He just didn't say anything back.
They didn't pull the knife out and say, well, I'm here to kill somebody.
He did not.
An object based on that call.
I'll allow it.
You didn't turn around and get back in the car because now your plan that you told us about had changed, because now it wasn't just you out of the car.
Correct.
Why didn't you just go get back in the car at that point? Your plan had changed.
In the moment, I didn't think of it. Kept walking. My plan was to talk to Tyler Rich.
Because it didn't surprise you that Mr. Valle was out of the car with you when you were going to do this, right?
Did, but I didn't think anything too heavy about it.
You knew this was a dangerous situation that you were walking into, right?
At the time, the way I felt, I didn't think it was going to be dangerous just because I thought it was just me walking up, talking to kids that I know and they know me and my family.
You thought those 30 or 40 kids that had surrounded the vehicle and knew you and your family and were jumping on it and smashed the windshield were now going to be happy to see you.
I wouldn't say happy.
He thinks those 30 kids were shot.
Sustained.
Your expectation was that you would be greeted peacefully.
Yeah.
You knew some of the kids there at that party, correct?
Yeah.
How many?
I don't know.
And by your own account, Mr. Valle didn't know any of those kids, right?
My knowledge, no.
And you said seeing him coming up was not smart.
No, I don't think so.
But you walking up, that was smart.
My head, yes, it was.
And you described Mr. Valle as being upset and angry at that point.
I did, correct.
And that was based on his face?
It was based on, before we went down, his words with the car.
Okay. So when you got out of the car and he was following you up, how close to you was he?
7 to 8 feet to my right.
To your right and behind you?
I would say a little bit behind.
You were leading the way?
I was, but he was 6 to 7 feet to the right, and maybe a little bit behind.
And watching your back.
You could say that.
At that point, he wasn't doing anything like squaring up with anybody.
No.
He wasn't flashing a knife at anybody.
Nope.
Didn't have his hands in his pockets.
Nope.
Didn't have his shirt pulled up over his head.
Nope.
And you heard somebody yell, "They're back."
Correct.
And you told us you thought you were going to go talk to Tyler Rich about the damages to Mr. Snider's car.
Basically, yeah, about the whole situation.
And you thought Mr. Rich was going to want to talk about the damages to the vehicle.
I know he would hear me out.
You expected him to want to have a conversation about the damages to the
Jack
car.
asked what he expected. Does that call for speculation?
You know, it's what he expected, his reason for going. I'll allow that.
Say the question again.
Sure. You expected Mr. Rich was going to want to talk to you about the damages to the vehicle.
I did at the time.
And after you heard their back, you told us you were confronted by a large individual that was screaming at you, right?
Correct.
Was that Tyler Rich?
No,
Did you know who it was?
I did not.
He was not alone, though, was he?
No.
Shortly thereafter, the 30 to 40 people swarmed out again, right?
Correct.
Looked like the whole house was pouring out from that backside, right?
Correct.
You were scared at that point, weren't you?
I was.
Not because of anything Mr. Valle was doing at that point, was it?
Correct.
Because of what you had just walked into, fair to say?
Correct.
At that point, were you terrified?
Correct.
You didn't know if any of those people had weapons, did you?
I did not.
You saw somebody throw things at you while you were down there at the end of 40, easy for me to say, 36 Laurel Glen Drive, right?
Objection.
I didn't remember that.
You don't remember that, but you saw it on the video, right?
Sustaining the objection, I'm going to instruct the jury to strike the witness's answer. And when there's an objection pending, let's please pause. Thank you.
Did you ever see Mr. Valle get sprayed in the face with WD-40 or PB blaster?
I did not.
At the point when the large individual is screaming at you, 30 to 40 people come out and they start to surround you and Mr. Valle, correct?
Correct.
You notice people on all sides of you, right?
Correct.
In fact, how many people were in front of you?
I don't know the exact head count, but I would say around 10.
And were those 10 all just in front of you talking peacefully?
No one was talking peacefully.
And they weren't just in front of you, right? They were surrounding you,
Correct.
cutting off your exit.
Objection.
You could say that.
You felt like you were being enclosed.
You could say that.
Didn't have a car around you now, did you?
I did not.
Did you think you were going to get beaten up?
Yeah.
Did it cross your mind that you might die?
No.
How badly did you think you might get beaten up?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
How badly did you think you might get beaten up?
Objection, that calls for speculation.
I'll allow it. It's what he was thinking.
I mean, when shit hits the fan like that so quickly, there's only a certain amount of time to think. I could say, yeah, I was like, I'm gonna get my ass beat.
You didn't know if you were going to live through that, right?
Objection, asked and answered.
Sustained.
And pretty soon, you had confirmation that your idea that Tyler Rich might want to peacefully talk with you was wrong, right?
Yes, correct.
Tyler Rich was screaming to you, "Get the fuck off my property or I will fuck you up."
Correct.
He had 9 other people that you could see supporting him, right?
Correct.
And you turned around and you ran back to the car, right?
No,
Why not?
just wasn't how it's gonna work. There's people behind me, people in front of me. It was chaotic. He's screaming that. I'm screaming at him to just let me talk to him, and then it all happened so fast before you knew it. Vito gets punched to the right of me. I get hit from the back of my head.
You were screaming at him, "Just let me talk to you."
Along those lines.
You were pleading with him, "Just let me talk to you. Just let me talk to you."
Along those lines.
Our families know each other. I know your cousins.
Along those lines.
You're trying to talk your way out of that situation, right?
Along those lines, yeah.
Trying to use your words to save your life.
Objection, as to the characterization.
Sustained.
Did you think you might die at that point?
Objection, asked and answered.
Sustained.
What was your state of mind at that point?
Fight or fight.
To save your life?
Objection, asked and answered.
Sustained.
Sir, at any point did it cross your mind that your life was in danger?
Objection, asked and answered.
Sustained.
Your Honor, may we approach?
Certainly.
And you told us things were happening so fast, right?
Correct.
Your pleading with Mr. Rich did not in any way calm the situation, right?
Not even close.
And then Mr. Valle got punched in the face, right?
Correct.
Chaos ensues.
Correct.
You're down on the ground, face first in the dirt, right?
That's what I remembered.
Getting punched and kicked by you don't know who.
No idea.
At that point, did you think you might die?
Objection, asked and answered.
Overruled.
I don't know, to be honest.
You didn't know if you were going to live.
Objection, asked and answered.
Overruled.
I just didn't know what was gonna happen. If I was gonna get out of that, or I was gonna get knocked out, and God knows what else.
God knows what else. You didn't, right?
No.
Had you ever been in a situation like that before?
Never.
Never in your 17 years to that point.
Never.
Before Mr. Valle got punched, How far away from you was he?
6, 7 feet, 8 feet.
Close enough that you could reach out and touch him?
No.
Were you worried about what was going to happen to Mr. Valle?
A little bit.
How many people were facing Mr. Valle?
Don't know the head count, but probably another 10
At least?
at least, yeah.
Surrounding him as well?
Correct.
You didn't see Mr. Valle take a swing at anybody?
I did not, because when I saw him get punched, before I knew it, I got punched from the back of the head.
You saw him punched. Crowd swarmed him, did they not?
Kinda, yeah.
He went down to the ground
Not that I saw.
because you were down on the ground,
Correct.
face in the dirt.
Correct.
Couldn't tell who was punching you.
Objection, this is asked and answered.
Sustained.
You got punched in the back of your head.
Correct.
How many times?
I have no idea.
Did you lose consciousness?
No.
And you told us that you were familiar with Mr. McGrath because you grew up playing lacrosse with him.
Correct.
But you didn't see him there that night.
I did not.
You weren't watching to see what he was doing that evening. Is that fair to say?
It's fair.
You did see him in the video that was played for you?
I did see him.
You told us after you fell, it was so chaotic and you were getting kicked and punched on all different sides. Remember that?
Correct.
And you told us you thought maybe that went on for 10 to 15 seconds.
Yeah.
That's what you're thinking now, right?
Correct.
At the time, didn't feel like that, did it?
Probably not.
Felt like an eternity, right?
You could say that.
You didn't know if that was going to end at all, did you?
Yeah.
You didn't hear, okay, just a few more and then we're going to let you up.
No, I did not.
You couldn't see Mr. Valle.
Did not.
He told us you remember being on the ground and then getting shoved into the street, right?
Almost like people backed off of me. And I stumbled into the street, yes.
People backed off of you?
Like a release, because before it was like I couldn't even get up if I wanted to.
Did you watch that video and see yourself getting shoved into the street by Jacob Villalobos?
Did see that, yes.
Didn't look like he was just letting you up, did it?
No.
Did you know Jacob Villalobos?
I did not.
Shelton High, did they ever play St. Joe's in football?
They did not.
Did you know that any of these kids were members of the Shelton High football team?
I did not.
And then you said you turned around and it was just a big wall of kids.
Correct.
Could you see Mr. Valle at that point?
Couldn't.
A wall was blocking you from seeing Mr. Valle.
You say that, yeah.
And you turned around and you were screaming at them, you said?
I was, yes.
Did you see yourself screaming at them in that video?
Did.
After you got shoved into the street?
Yes.
You said you looked to your left and you saw Jack Snider's car pulling away.
Correct.
Were you scared at that point?
I was.
Thought you were going to be left there with those kids, right?
Correct.
And you were terrified that you were being abandoned by Mr. Snider.
Correct.
And ultimately you said you ran to the car and got into the car, correct?
Correct.
You said Mr. Valle was already in the car before you?
Was.
Did you see him run past you?
Did not.
Which side did you get in?
I remember it was I got in the left back side, back seats.
Behind the driver?
Yes.
And Mr. Snider was still driving the car when you got in?
Was.
You didn't see Mr. Valle with a knife at that point?
I did not.
You said Mr. Valle takes off, he makes a left turn, slams on the brakes, and you almost hit your head
Correct.
on the glove box or the dash in front of you?
Seat in front of me.
The seat in front of you. Okay, right, because you're no longer in the front passenger side, now you're behind the driver.
Correct.
And that you looked up after that quick stop, and you saw Mr. Valle getting back into the car.
Correct.
How long did that take?
1-2 seconds.
Were the windows up or down in the car?
I have no idea.
But you remember Mr. Valle saying, go, go, go.
Correct.
You go past the house back to where everybody had been left.
Correct.
And that's when you saw Mr. Valle get out of the vehicle.
Yes, he said stop, stop, stop. Exited the vehicle and turned back around to me and Jack. Said, love you guys. I'm going home with Mackenzie.
And at that point, you did get out of the car and got to the front passenger seat.
Got back into his seat, yes.
Then there must have been a sense of relief on your part?
Not really.
No, because you still didn't know where you were, right?
Did not.
It was dark outside.
Correct.
You just had this terrifying experience.
Correct.
You told us that you were injured.
Correct.
You're in pain?
I wouldn't say too much just because of how much adrenaline that was running through my body.
Okay. And car takes off and drives, and you got to a dead end.
That's correct.
And at that point, again, you didn't know where you were, right?
Correct.
Were you worried that these kids might come and find you?
Not that I remember.
Your reaction at that point was, where are we, you said, right?
Correct.
So you were scared about being lost in a place that you had no idea where to get out.
All that chaos, yes.
Why didn't you just get out of the car at that point and say, Jack, I'm done with this?
Why, you want me to just sit there in the road by myself?
What might happen if you did?
I don't know.
Sustained. I'll stand for the witnesses. Excuse my last answer.
You were yelling at Jack from the moment you got into that car about why did he abandon you, right?
Correct.
You weren't expecting to go down to that house alone. You didn't want him to abandon you there, right?
No, Jack, this has been asked.
Sustained.
You said you were angry and mad, correct?
Hmm?
Yes.
Correct.
At that point,
Correct, yeah.
as mad as you claim Mr. Valle had been before he got into that vehicle, but
I wouldn't say so.
not that mad?
No.
You were calm, cool, and collected.
No?
Just not as mad as Mr. Valle.
Yeah.
And along the way, you decided to call your cousin Owen, right?
Correct.
And you say at that point you learned that this was more serious than you thought it had been, correct?
Correct.
You still wanted payback, though, right?
Correct.
So you were angry, right?
Correct.
Not as angry as you claim Mr. Valle was.
Correct.
So when you want payback, you're only kind of angry?
Objection.
Sustained.
At that point, you told Jack Snider to go home, right?
I got back to my house, yes.
And You ate and you went to your room, right?
Correct.
And you claimed that you called Mr. Valle and you confronted him. And you asked him, did you stab these kids?
Correct.
And all he said to you was, I fucked up, bro, sorry.
I fucked up. Sorry.
And then he hung up? Or
As
you
I
hung up?
remember, yes.
Did he say it like that? Just, I fucked up, bro, sorry.
My memory, I mean, I fucked up, bro. Sorry was more, how do you say it, meaningful sorry. It wasn't like a no emotion sorry.
So he didn't say, yeah, that's right, I stabbed those 4 kids.
Did not say that.
And then you called the cops, right?
Eventually later that night, after I found out through my brother who called me, when I learned the severity of how someone had passed away, I woke up my parents, called the cops.
You called the cops?
Called the cops. Called my attorney.
Call who?
My attorney.
Why didn't you call the cops?
Under advice of people around me.
You were scared to call the cops.
Since I knowing me and I was evolved, just under the advice of people around me, told me to contact lawyer.
You weren't going to talk to the cops until you got them to agree not to prosecute you, right?
I'm object.
Sustained.
You didn't call. You didn't talk to the cops until December 6th of 2022.
Correct.
Almost 7 months after this went down.
Correct.
After you'd gotten your immunity agreement.
Correct.
Not once before.
No.
In fact, you didn't call the cops. You went to Vermont, right?
That's correct.
And then on the way home, you were feeling ill, right?
It's the way up.
On the way up.
Correct.
And you were feeling ill
Very.
from the injuries that you had gotten during the fight.
Correct.
And you went in and you sought some medical treatment.
That's correct.
And you told us that you had a concussion, multiple contusions and bruises all over your body, right?
Correct.
The doctor looked at you and said, what is going on here? And you said, oh, I got into a fight, right?
Correct.
And that doctor told you,
Objection is what the doctor said.
Your Honor, you testified to this on direct.
If you want to explore the actual statement, you can explore the actual statement. Please make sure you don't mischaracterize the statement that was made. Thank you.
You told us, the doctor told you, this is no basic fight.
Correct.
From roughly May 15th until, well, on roughly May 15th, you learned that somebody had died in this fight that you've been involved with.
Correct.
And you waited 7 months before you talked about it.
No advice of my attorney, yes.
Because you were worried you might get arrested and prosecuted for this.
Say that.
Your expectation is that by coming in here and testifying to us today, that you're not going to get prosecuted for anything, right?
Correct.
Have you talked with Jack Snider since this happened?
We have, yeah. We're friends.
You and Jack remain friends, right?
Correct.
In fact, you've talked about this very incident together, correct?
Yes.
Have you ever gone back to the scene?
No.
Prior to coming in here and testifying today, how many times have you watched those videos that you watched with us today?
About two times, 2 to 3 times.
That's it?
I want to say, yeah.
How many times have you reviewed the police reports of your statements?
Are you saying the interview video?
Well, okay, tell me about that. You watched your own interview video?
I have.
How many times you watched that?
3 times.
3 times? 3 times you watched a video of yourself giving a statement on December 6th?
Correct.
Why'd you have to watch it 3 times?
Because we're 3 years now from that moment, and I still live my life, do my things, and I've been trying to put this in the past. So I have to watch that video and remember what my statement was.
You don't want to come in and deviate from that at all, do you?
Lastly, let the witness answer the question.
Allow the witness to ask the question. Thank you.
Saying, I have to watch it. I remember stuff, but I might forget little, key couple stuffs that I just have to, memorize my memory of. People don't always remember things 3 years later.
Hard to tell the same story twice.
I wouldn't say that.
Not if you watch a video of yourself doing it 3 times.
I mean, it's always not going to be perfect, but everything will be around the same, as long as you're telling the truth.
When was the last time you watched that video?
Today is Friday.
Today is Friday.
Tuesday.
3 days ago, you watched the video of yourself giving your statement
Correct.
from beginning to end.
Correct.
Did you pause it?
Yes.
Go back over it a few times in certain spots?
Not really.
Didn't want to deviate from it, did you?
I just really wanted to watch it and revamp my memory.
Well, that original statement was what you recalled at the time 3 years ago, right?
Correct.
And so now you've watched it 3 times as recently as Tuesday in order to come in today and testify under this immunity agreement.
No objection. Ask the answer.
Sustained.
Nothing further. Thank you.
Any redraw?
May I have a moment, Your Honor? Tyler, counsel just asked you about the moments at the end of the fight when you get pushed out into the road. And I think you said during your testimony it was about 5, 6, 7 seconds at that time. What are you doing at that moment when you're pushed out into the road?
I'm looking back at a big crowd of people in chaos screaming towards my way.
Are they advancing towards you?
They're not.
Are you advancing towards them? Is the fight over at that point?
Asked and answered.
Sustained.
Do you recall whether or not the fight was over then?
Yeah, the fight was over.
And counsel asked you a little bit about, at some point, State's Exhibit 69. Towards the end of that video, fair enough to say? This is what you're talking about?
Correct.
Shortly after the end of this video, a few seconds go by and you look to your left
The car is moving.
and the car's moving, right? So when you get in the car, Shortly after this video ends, when you get in the car, counsel indicated you got in the back driver's side?
Yeah.
Who's in the car when you get back in the car?
Defendant and Jack Snider.
So the defendant was already in the car when you got back in the car?
Correct.
No further questions.
Anything on that limited cross to redirect? Excuse me.
You just told the state's attorney that at that point the fight was over, right?
Right.
Because that big crowd of people said, "Fight's over."
Stand.
In that picture, sir, what are you doing with your hands?
Holding them up like that.
Hitching up your pants, right? Hitching up your pants because you're not sure what's going to happen with that crowd of people, right?
Objection, that calls for speculation.
I'll allow it.
You could say that.
Your expectation at that point was, these folks might still be coming at me, right?
Correct.
You couldn't see Mr. Valle at that point
Not
because the people were still surrounding Mr. Valle, right?
that I've seen.
Not that you saw. Did those people just disappear?
No. They were there, but I didn't see any fighting going on.
But you're hitching up because you don't know what's going to happen, right?
Stand.
But the fight was over.
My opinion, yes, it was.
Did you feel safe right there?
After what just happened, no.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Nothing further.
All right. Please watch your step. See what I'm saying. Is the state prepared to call its next witness?
Yes, Your Honor. The state calls Mackenzie Traffic County to the stand, please.
Please come on up into the witness box. Kindly remain standing. Clerk is going to put you under oath to your right hand. Please, if you just pay attention.
Thank you, Your Honor. Please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or solemnly and sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that the evidence you shall give concerning this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God, or upon penalty of perjury. If so, please say I do. Thank you. Please state your full name, spelling your last name, and address for the record.
Mackenzie Trafficante.
And just your town, the town you're in.
Hi, Mackenzie. How you doing today?
I'm okay.
Okay. So I'm going to have you take a couple deep breaths, okay? If you want a drink of water, you can do that before we start. It's really difficult to hear in this courtroom, so I'm going to have you just speak as loud as you can. Keep your voice up as much as you can, okay? And that microphone does amplify slightly, so if you can speak closer to that, that'd be great, okay?
Okay.
So Mackenzie, how are you feeling today?
Anxious a little bit, just being in the room, obviously. A little emotional, but I know I'll be okay.
Okay. So a little bit nervous?
Yes.
If you need to stop at any point, just let us know, okay? Mackenzie, I'm going to direct your attention to May 14th of 2022. Do you remember that day and why?
That was an awful day. One of my good friend's younger brothers died that day.
Previous to today, do you recall meeting with me, Mackenzie?
Yes.
Okay, and why do we meet?
We met to prep me for the trial as a witness.
And are you prepared to testify today?
Yes.
How old are you, Mackenzie?
I'm 20 years old.
And do you have a nickname? Do people call you something other than Mackenzie?
Not really. Mainly by my full name, Mackenzie.
And do you go to school?
Yes, I go to Fairfield University.
And what year are you?
I'm a rising senior.
And what is your major?
Finance and accounting.
You're home for the summer. What are you doing for the summertime?
Working.
In your area, your field?
Yes.
And other than when you're in school, you indicated that you live in Shelton.
Yes.
And who do you live in Shelton with?
I live with my family, my 4 older sisters, and my mom and dad.
Did you attend Shelton schools growing up in Shelton?
Yes.
All schools, including high school, or did you attend a different high school than a Shelton high school?
So up until high school, and then I attended St. Joseph High School in Trumbull.
And you indicated St. Joe's is located in Trumbull, Connecticut?
Yes.
And what year did you graduate St. Joe's?
2022.
Did you play any sports at St. Joe's or do any activities?
I was a cheerleader and a lacrosse player.
I'm going to direct your attention to the year of 2022. Were you a student at St. Joseph High School at that time?
Yes.
And what year were you?
I was a senior.
In May of 2022, were you dating anyone?
Yes.
And who were you dating?
Lido Valley.
Does Lido go by a different name,
Raul.
but you would refer to him as Lido?
Yes.
How long did you and Lido date?
3 months at the end of the year.
And what year was Lido in school when you were dating him?
Junior.
Mackenzie, do you happen to see Lido here today in the courtroom?
Yes.
If you can please just point him out and describe what he's wearing.
He's wearing a black suit, tie.
Let the record reflect, Your Honor, that the witness is identifying the defendant in court.
Court will allow the record to reflect that the witness has identified Mr. Valle. Thank you.
Mackenzie, was it really difficult for you to just do that?
Yes.
This is the first time you've seen Lido since the date of incident.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Mackenzie, I'm going to refer to Lido as the defendant moving forward, or Lido, I'm going to be going back and forth just so you're aware, okay? But I'm talking about the same person. How did you and the defendant meet?
We went to the same high school. I met him that year, my senior year.
And were you in the same friend group as Lido?
He was a grade below me, but mutual friends, I guess, yeah.
And I'm going to direct your attention back to May of 2022. What occurred on May 13th of 2022?
I had my senior prom.
And did you attend the prom?
Yes.
And who did you go with?
Leo.
And after the prom, did you do anything with your friends?
The night of the prom, there was a arcade thing that we went to. The next day, a bunch of my friends went up to a prom house, which they rented a house in either New York or Vermont. I wanted to go, but my parents didn't want me to go because they didn't think it was safe, so they kept me home that next night.
So it's fair to say you did not attend that prom house in upstate New York with your friends?
Yes.
You stayed in the area of Shelton?
Yes.
I'm going to direct your attention to the next day, May 14th of 2022. What, if anything, did you and the defendant do during the daytime hours?
We went to the beach.
And approximately how long were you at the beach on May 14th of 2022?
Maybe a couple hours. Sorry.
At some point later on in that evening, did you go back to the defendant's house?
Yeah, briefly.
And did you do something later on that evening with the defendant?
There was a party going on at a friend of mine's house. Her name is Madigan Lifer, and I guess she was having a party, so we planned to go there.
And you indicated you were friends with Madigan Lifer?
Yes.
How were you friends with her?
She grew up with me. She was from Shelton. We went to school together. She went to my high school. My dad coached her in lacrosse as well.
Was she on the lacrosse team as well with you?
Yes.
Now, were you personally invited to the party at Madigan Leifer's house?
I had just heard through other people, and I've been there a ton of times, so I knew that I was welcome.
Do you know what kind of a party? What was the occasion for the party?
I think it was mainly juniors who attended the party because her brother was a junior, Austin Leifer. I think he invited his football friends, some girls in their grade, and I think Maddie also had a couple girls in her grade who came.
Now you say Maddie. Is that Madigan Leifer? Maddie short for Madigan?
Yes.
And to your knowledge, what was the address of the house of Madigan Leifer?
I know she lives on Lazy Brook. I don't know what the actual number is.
Now, prior to leaving to go to the party, do you recall what clothes the defendant put on before he left?
I remember he was wearing an Ole Miss t-shirt. It was blue.
Dark blue, light blue?
Yeah, light blue.
And how did you get to the party at Madigan Leifer's house?
That night, Jack Snider and Tyler De Silva picked us up and drove us to the party.
And when you say Jack Snider and Tyler De Silva, who came to pick you up? Who drove?
Jack Snider picked us up in his car and drove us.
And to your knowledge, what type of a car did Jack Snider drive? Or what car did he pick you up in that night?
I don't know the car type. It looked a little bit bigger. It wasn't like a tiny vehicle, but I'm not sure what type of car.
Mackenzie, I'm showing you what's been admitted to evidence, states 30. Does this look like the vehicle that Jack Snider picked you up in that night? You can recall?
Yes.
Now, Mackenzie, when Jack came to pick you up, who else was in the vehicle at that point?
Tyler De Silva.
And had you been in this Honda Pilot prior to you getting into it that night?
No.
Now, are you familiar with either Jack Snider or Tyler De Silva?
Yes.
And how are you familiar with them?
They also went to my high school. They were on the football team, and I was a cheerleader.
So is it fair to say you, on occasion, hung out with them?
On occasion, they were in the grade below me, so if there was maybe a combined get-together or party that they would be at, that would probably be the main time I would see them.
And to your knowledge, were the defendant, Tyler and Jack, friends with the Leifers?
Yes, they were friends with the younger brother, Austin, who was on their football team.
To your knowledge, do you know if Jack, Tyler, and the defendant were invited to the Leifers party?
I believe so, yeah.
Prior to arriving at Lazy Brook, Madigan Leifers and Austin Leifer's house, did Jack drive anywhere else?
I remember stopping to get alcohol somewhere. I didn't get out of the car, and it was dark, so I'm not sure where we had stopped, but it was brief.
Now, when you say stopping somewhere, was that at a liquor store? Do you have a recollection of it being a store? You can explain.
Either a store or a gas station, maybe.
And you indicated you did not get out of the car. Who got out of the car to get that alcohol?
I don't remember who exactly, but someone must have.
And to your knowledge, what type of alcohol was purchased?
Not sure.
Do you recall seeing the alcohol when the person who went to the store or the establishment to get it came back out?
I don't remember like any specific type or seeing it. They got it, but I don't remember.
So you don't recall the color of the alcohol either then?
No.
Now, after getting the alcohol, where did Jack drive to?
We drove to Lazy Brook.
The Leifer's house?
Yes.
And either on the way to the party or even prior to the party, getting to the party, had you been drinking any alcohol?
I might have had a sip or two in the car, but not really.
So if you had a sip or two in the car, do you recall what you were drinking?
No, maybe a seltzer or something around those lines.
Do you recall seeing if anyone else in the vehicle was drinking? Either either the defendant or Jack or De Silva?
No, I don't recall.
And once you got to Lazy Brook, where did you go? How did you get into the house? How did you get into the party?
We went through the basement door. Madigan had parties in the past. I've been to her house a ton of times, so normally we would just go through the basement door. The garage door, and then we'd be in the basement.
So the party was in the basement?
Yes.
And when you got to the party, approximately how many people did you see down in the basement?
I would say 40. That's a good number, I guess. 40, 50.
Did you recognize most of the individuals down in the basement?
Yes.
Would you say most, if not all of them, were St. Joe students?
Yes.
And when you got there, who did you hang out with?
So since there was a ton of underclassmen at the party, who I wasn't, super, super friendly with everybody. I just knew them, knew their faces. There was one girl that I was hanging out with majority of the party who was a senior. She was friends with Madigan.
Do you recall her name?
Sydney.
And did you hang out with Lito at all?
Throughout the party, I didn't see him at all, really.
To your recollection, do you know who the defendant was hanging out with?
I think majority of the party, he was with some of the football guys and some of his closer friends.
And did you observe people drinking at the party?
Yes.
Do you recall what type of alcohol they were drinking?
A mixture of probably vodka and beer, maybe.
Do you recall anyone playing games at the party?
I don't recall, no.
Now, you indicated that you had, you indicated in the car ride you might have had a sip of some alcohol. At the party, did you drink anything?
I had vodka at the party. I think someone had provided me with. I'm not sure who.
And do you recall if it was it a sip of vodka? Was it a cup of vodka? Was it vodka mixed with something else? And how many drinks would you say you had?
I probably took a couple shots that night. Nothing crazy.
When you say nothing crazy, nothing to the point where you felt intoxicated, where you couldn't stand, or you were vomiting, or you couldn't recall?
Yeah, none of that.
To your knowledge, was Lito drinking at the party?
Yes.
And how do you know this?
I just remember seeing many people at the party drinking. I think he was one of them.
Mackenzie, at some point, to your knowledge, did individuals show up at the party who were not St. Joe students?
At the time, I wasn't aware of it. I think after that incident had happened, it was running around the party. There was like a rumor around the party that people had shown up.
So is it fair to say that you didn't see these individuals, you were not aware who these individuals were, and you didn't know what school they went to?
No, I didn't see any of them.
Did you learn at some point that something happened between these individuals that came to the party that were either uninvited and who weren't from St. Joe's?
When they had left, we had found out that someone had shown up because whoever was outside in the garage at that time, so I was in the basement, people were in the garage, they had come back in and kind of announced to the party that boys had shown up. And I think that maybe there was some type of connection between them. I wasn't sure what.
So is it fair to say you stayed in the basement for the majority of the party?
Yes.
You never witnessed any fight that occurred between the defendant, Tyler De Silva, or Jack Snider with these individuals that came from a different high school?
Yeah, I didn't see any of that.
And at some point after you learned about this fight, did you observe the defendant and his friends?
I remember when some of the boys had rolled back into the house. They just seemed kind of drunk. And I did see them, yes, when they had come back in.
Mackenzie, I'm going to show you what's been marked as States 53. Do you recognize who is in States 53?
I recognize both of those boys, yes.
Okay, and the individual who's in the light blue Ole Miss shirt, wearing the helmet and the pillow, who is that?
Lito.
And the individual who's wearing the red hoodie who appears to be holding up a cell phone. Who is that?
Jack Snider.
Do you have a clear recollection of seeing these two boys that night appearing as such?
I remember them walking inside and looking like that, yes.
Do you know when that photograph was taken?
I believe this was after boys had shown up outside, because I think when they came back in, that's when word got around the party that people had shown up.
So it's your understanding that this photograph was taken after the fight occurred?
Yes.
Do you recall the defendant putting on this helmet and this pillow at any point at the party?
I don't remember. I think I just saw him wearing it.
Did you wonder why he was wearing it?
No, I thought maybe he was drunk. He just kind of looked stupid.
And that blue bottle that he has in his hand, do you recall seeing that either in the car on the way to the party? Do you recall taking a sip from that bottle? Do you recall seeing that bottle at all?
Maybe through the picture, but I don't remember specifically that he was drinking that, no.
Now, Mackenzie, did you stay at Madigan Leifer's house for the remainder of the night?
We did not.
And why not?
Basically, I think the party might have been getting too big. And at one point, Madigan's parents, or at least her mom, came downstairs and started telling everybody to leave. So I guess the whole party started just moving towards the driveway. People were trying to figure out rides home. People were getting into random cars. So yeah.
So at some point you left the Leifer's house.
Yes.
And when you left the Leifer's house, did you have a ride anywhere? Did you know where you were going to go?
Yeah, I was under the impression that Jack Snider was going to bring me home.
So at some point, did you get into Jack Snider's car again?
Yes.
And in addition to yourself, who else got into Jack Snider's car?
I don't recall everybody. I can definitely say I think Lido, Tyler De Silva, Keenan, Frazik, Dimitri. There might have been a couple other people, and those people I don't recall.
Now, you mentioned...
That's a good time.
Okay, I'll ask this final question. You mentioned the names Keenan, Frazik, Demetrius. I don't know if you said Will.
Will, yes,
said
as
Will.
well.
Are you familiar with those people?
I knew they went to my school. They were a grade below me. I wasn't super close with them, but I knew them, yeah.
But you have a direct recollection of them getting into the vehicle,
Yes.
Jack Snider's vehicle?
Yeah.
When you got into the vehicle, do you recall where everyone was sitting?
Tyler De Silva was sitting in the passenger seat. Jack Snider was driving. And then 4 of us were squeezed into the back seat, and there was maybe one person in the trunk. I just don't know which one was in the trunk.
Do you recall sitting on the defendant's lap at any point?
I think I was lapped up in the back, yeah.
So we are going to move into our lunch recess at this point. We'll be in the recess room to talk. So we'll be back on at 2. And then public hearings will have your lunch. Continue to remember your rules of conduct. Please keep your notepad on the seat. And we'll be back in 2. Thank you. Court stands in recess.